Welcome students to another class of IP. So we are doing unit number 4. So here you can see the syllabus. So in the starting of this unit I have shown you this syllabus, and now this is our last class of this unit. So I am telling you how much we have covered in this unit. Okay. So see this paragraph is divided into two portions. Okay. So first we will talk about the second portion, then we will come to the first portion. So see here, advantages of structured query language. That is, we have done this thing, introduction of SQL. So this includes the advantages also, that it is used for interaction with the any database. Okay. So that is the advantage of SQL. Through SQL we can fetch the data, we can sort the data, and we can add data into table and these things. Okay. So next topic is given here is data definition language. That we have already seen that it deals with the structure, and the commands that include DDR is that create command, and create includes creating database as well as table, and next command is alter command, and then drop command. So that we have covered in data definition language. Next is data query language, that is select. Okay. And data manipulation language, that includes that insert command, okay, and update command, delete command, and other data query language also includes the clauses, etc. Okay. So introduction to MySQL, that also we have seen. Okay. Creating a database using MySQL, that we have created tables using database. Okay. Data types we have studied. Okay. Data definition, we have studied these things: create table, drop table, alter table. Okay. Data query language we have already done, select, from, and where clause also. Okay. So data manipulation includes insert, update, and delete. So this is this much you have to study in 11th class. Apart from this, many other things are also there in SQL, but that you will cover in class 12th. Okay. Let's come to the first paragraph of this syllabus. Okay. First is database concepts. So the database concepts we have seen in the starting, and I have told you about the working of DBMS also. Okay. So introduction to database concept and its need. Why it is needed? Because it is having advantages over file system. Okay. Next is database management system, that is also introduction, and then relational data models we have already seen. Concept of domain, that we will cover in this class. Next topic is concept of domain. I have not covered it earlier in the starting because there can be confusion, because when we started this unit many confusions are there to you. So by going through this unit, maybe you will get some understanding regarding this. Now you will understand it in a better way. Okay. So domain we will cover in today's class. Tuple we have covered, relation we have covered. Tuple means rows, relation means table name, candidate key, primary key, alternate key, foreign key. This also we will cover in today's class. Okay. So let's begin our class with the topic domain. Okay. Domain means, like, when we are creating a table, we define the data type. Data type means what types of value it will hold. So you can say the set of values from which an attribute can take value in each row, that is known as domain. Okay. Maths students, they if they have done the relation chapter, sets and relation, in that thing you have studied the domain thing. So that domain and this domain is same. Okay. This concept is taken from maths also. Okay. So domain means the set of values from which an attribute can take value. Okay. Usually a data type is used to specify domain for an attribute. For example, in student relation, that student table that we have created, in that table roll number takes integer value. So we can say its domain is set of integer, all the positive, negative, and zero number, including zero. Okay. Similarly, the set of character strings constitute the domain of the attribute name. That means name can be any alphabet or a collection of alphabets. Okay. So this is about the domain. I hope you understand it. Next topic is concept of keys. Before starting concept of keys, I want to tell you this relation between these tables, so that you can get an understanding how tables are related in DBMS. So see here, we are having a database with a name learner. Okay, so consider it like this, that database is just a container, and I am giving one more example to make you understand what is database and what is table. So take an example of an house. Okay, that land is known as database. Okay, that is having a structure of house, and each room or the separate portions in house, that is considered as a table. Okay, so here the database name is learner. In that learner database, we are having three tables here. Okay, first table is student table, second table is participant table, third table is activity table. Now see here, this student table, it is having the two columns. One is student name and second is student id. We can represent tables like this also. Okay, so student name, it is containing names, four names, that is KS Lakshmi, Ankita, Himali, or Arushi Goel. Okay, so these are the name of students, and their IDs are 84, 100, 92, 106. Similarly, we are having another table, participant table. In participant table, we are having two columns. One is student ID, another is activity. So 84 activities swimming, 84 activities dancing, 92 activities tennis, 100 activities golf, 100 activities cricket, and 106 it is having an activity squash. Okay, so this is about participant table. So this id students, they are participating in this particular activity. Now another table is here, that is activity table. Activity table contains two columns, one is activity and another is having cost. Okay, so swimming, it costs 2000 rupees. You can say dancing 1500, tennis 900, golf 1500, cricket 2000, and squash 2500. So this is a table. Now I am telling you the relation between these tables. So in first table we are having two columns, student name and student id. In second also we are having two columns, student id and activity. Now can we link student id of first table with the second table, because it is having the same type of student id. So from one table and two table, we can say student name is KS Lakshmi, id is 84, and activity is swimming. Okay, so we can relate that that this student is having this idea and its activity is swimming. Okay, another see participant table. Okay, so 84 is KS Lakshmi, so we can say KS Lakshmi is also involved in activity dancing. Okay, 92 id is of Himali, so we can say Himali whose id is 92 is taking part in activity tennis. Okay, so similarly we can from these two tables, student and activity participant table, we can say which student with which id is participating in which activity. Okay, now relating all the three tables, we can say that KS Lakshmi, whose id is 84, is involved in activity swimming, and so cost of swimming is 2000 rupees. Okay, so like this we can relate the data. Okay, so this is the way how tables are interrelated with each other, and then that is the reason it is called database management system. All the tables have to be related with each other. If this table is having another table that is with the hospital name, so that is not related with these tables, so we can't say that that is the database management system. Okay, in database management system, the database should have tables that are related with each other. Okay, now try to understand the concept of keys. Okay, so primary key, let's talk about primary key. Primary key is a unique key. Keys means you can say columns. Okay, so why how we can say that which column is primary key, that we have taken an example of student table. Okay, in a student table we are having column roll number, and when a student take admission in school, one admission number is also assigned to a student. So see this example to understand the concept of primary key. When you got admission in the school, you were given an admission number. That admission number is assigned to you, was not assigned to any other student of your school. That means we can say that admission number is a unique number. For similarly, another example, when a patient goes to a hospital, each patient is also given a unique id number, that is patient number. Okay, similarly, when a person opens an account in the bank, that person is given a unique account number. Okay, and admission number. So here admission number, patient number, account number, these are all example of primary key. That means unique thing. Okay, so like you are also having your IDs, that class roll number, so that is also considered as your primary key. Okay, so what we can, how we can define a primary key? That a primary key is a field means a column in a table that is unique for each record. Okay, that should not be repeated, that it should always be unique. Every database table should have a column or group of columns designated as the primary key. So the value this key holds should be unique for each record in the table. That means you can just understand this as a unique value that a table can hold. Okay, for each row primary key should be different. Okay, so some examples of primary key are here: accession number on a book, okay, in book table. Similarly, employee ID in employee table, an item code in a item table or stock table, flight number in a flight table or flight master table, you can say. So these are the some examples of primary key. The purpose of primary key is to be uniquely identify each record in a table. One more example I want to give to you, like in our country, so the prime minister, he, we can say that prime minister is a primary key because he is the unique, it is a unique post, or he is the unique person that is selected among such a huge number of people for representing the post. Okay, so like this we can say a primary key is a field in a table that is unique for each record. Okay, so the next we will see more about primary key. So primary constraints means some restrictions or rules that we applied on that particular column. So primary key constraint uniquely identify each row in a database table. Primary key must contain unique values and cannot contain null values. This point to be noted, that primary key never contains null value. If you want to assign it a null value, then you will get an error. Okay, a table can have only one primary key, which may consist of single or multiple fields. Okay, so it should be a unique value. Now here example is taken to how we can create a primary key. So during creating table, we can assign a primary key. So here an example is taken of a table person. Okay, so we are creating a new table, that is create table, and name of table is persons. In that we are having a column ID, and not null means we don't want ID to be null, so we are providing it a constraint that is not null. Okay, that you have to write as it is. Okay, last name is another type of column that holds varchar value, and it should also not be null. Okay, and first name, age, and we want ID to be primary key, so after comma we can put the name of the column which we want to make a primary key. So like this you can create a primary key. And sometimes it happens that during the creation of a table we just forgot to make it primary key. So how we can add it later on? So that we can do with the alter command. So we can write a query like this: alter table name. Add is a keyword that we have to write, and then we can write the primary key keyword, and then we can just type the column name which we want to make as a primary key. So here is another example to add a primary key constraint on an employee code of a table employee. So we can write a command like this: create table name is employee, add is a keyword, primary key is also a keyword, and employee code is the column name that we want to make it as a primary key. So like this you can create primary key also. Okay, next is candidate key. Candidate key means, like as I have given you the example, that prime minister example. So right now Mr. Narendra Modi is our honorable prime minister, and if we talk about the opposition parties, so who are the candidate that can become a primary key, that is known as candidate key. That means in a table there can be more than one field that uniquely identifies a record, and all such type fields are called candidate key. That means remaining columns that are having a capability of becoming a primary key, that is known as candidate key. So see here, a candidate key is an attribute or set of attribute that uniquely identifies a row. So primary key is one of the candidate key. Primary key is also a candidate, that like Narendra Modi is also a nominated candidate, but he became the prime minister, and remaining are known as candidate key. The candidate members are known as candidate key. So similarly you can understand. So consider this example: table, roll number, admission number, name, class, section, and dues. So these are the column names. So out of these column names, we can say admission number and roll number both may be used to uniquely identify each row. So we can say that admission number and roll numbers are the candidate key for this table. That means the eligible, most eligible, or you can say the preferred, first preferences, that is known as candidate key. So here these two are the candidate key. They are having all the capabilities of becoming a primary key. Okay. Next is alternate key. So only one of the candidate keys selected as a primary key of a table. So all other candidate keys are called alternate keys. So in example, we use one of the candidate keys, say admission number, as the primary key, and the other candidate key, roll number, is known as alternate key, or it can be a vice versa. Okay. So that you can say all the columns are known as keys, and the columns that are known as, that are eligible for becoming a primary key, are known as candidate key. So primary key is also a candidate key, and the key that is selected as a primary key, that becomes a primary key, and the remaining key that is left behind, that is not becoming a primary key, that can be called as alternate key. Okay. So next is foreign key. Now try to understand this foreign key with this example. Suppose in our country we are having a president, and in USA also there is a president. So suppose our president visits USA. So that our president, he is a primary, you can say he is a primary key of our country. Okay. When he visits USA, then there USA also there is a president. So that president in USA is the primary key of that country. But as our country prime minister president is also visiting that country, so our president is known as foreigner there. Okay. So similar concept happens in database, that one primary key of a table that includes in another table as a column, then it becomes a foreign key. Okay. So foreign key is a key that is used to link two tables together. This is something sometimes also called as referencing key. A foreign key is a column or a combination of columns whose values match a primary key in a different table. A relationship between two tables matches the primary key is one of the table with a foreign key in a second table. So if a table has a primary key defined on a field mean column, then you cannot have two records having the same value. So you can also add a foreign key like this: alter table name, add foreign key, then you have to write the column name, references. This foreign key, you will understand more about this in class 12th. Okay. So till now just try to understand this. The foreign key is used to make a relation between two tables. Okay. And it links the tables. So primary key of one table, if it included in another table, then it becomes a foreign key. So here you can see how we can drop a foreign key. Okay, maybe foreign key is not clear to you, but it becomes clear with this example. So see here, we are having two tables. One is person table and another is order table. So see the columns of table person, we are having three columns: person ID, that is PID, person name, that is name, and person age, that is age. Okay, in this table we are having person ID as a primary key. That means it can't hold null values. Okay, so for table person we are having person ID as a primary key. Now let's talk about another table, that is order table. In order table we are having three columns, that is order ID, that is OID, and order number, and person ID, that this person is ordering this item, order number. Okay, so see here, this person order table, we are having order ID as a primary key of order table, but it also includes a column that is person ID, that is a primary key of other table. It is not the primary key of this table, but it is a primary key of other table. So here it is not a primary key PID, it behaves as a foreign key, because that in this table it is a primary key that belongs to some other table, but here it is behaving as a column, normal column. So here this column is known as foreign key because it is a primary key of another table. So as I have given you an example of president, so if our president will go in some other country, so there is also their president, so that country president is primary key of that country, and our president becomes a foreign key in that particular country, and foreign key is also known as referencing key. So here PID is a referencing key or foreign key, and it is a primary key of person table. So this is the concept of foreign key. I hope key. And now let's talk about some constraints. Okay, constraints means a condition or restriction that we can apply on a particular column. Okay, so some of the constraints are given here, like if you don't want to add null values to your columns by default, so in that case you can write a constraint not null. Default means it provide a common value for a column when none is specified. Like in roll marks, you want to, if no value is provided inserted in marks column, then you want all marks to be 80, then in that case you can use default constraint. Unique means it ensures all the values in a columns are unique or different. Check means if you want to check the eligibility criteria and other thing that this value should be greater than this, in that case we can put a check constraint. Similarly, we can put primary key constraint on a table, or we can put a foreign key constraints also. So this is all about the constraints. Not null constraint demonstration is given here. So if you don't want any column to be holding a null value, so you can put not null, like this query is given here. So read this thing, you will understand this. Okay, so this is all about this constraints. And now let's see one important difference, that is difference between primary key and foreign key. Primary key versus foreign key. So a primary key is a unique identifies a record in a relation database table. And foreign key, it refers to a field in a table which is the primary key of another table. That I already explained to you. A table can contain only one primary key, and a table can contain more than one foreign key. Okay, next, third point is, no two rows can carry duplicate values for a primary key attribute, but a foreign key can contain duplicate values. Primary key does not allow null values, whereas foreign key can contain null values also. Okay, a primary key constraints can be implicitly defined on a temporary table. Implicitly means automatically, and a foreign key constraint cannot be enforced on local or you can remove this point, that is up to you. Okay, last point is, a primary key constraints cannot be dropped from a parent table, which refers to a foreign key in the child table. That means if we are having two tables, so we can't drop the primary key constraint from that particular table, and a foreign key can be dropped from the child table even if it's references to a primary key of another table. Okay, so foreign keys we can remove, but primary key we cannot remove that.